Two of my favorite artists just dropped this past Friday. One end, I got JID with his newest album, God Does Like Ugly, 12-track journey. We're getting a lot of gospel energy in here. We're getting a lot of Southern roots, and it's a lot of unpredictable production that I did not see happening on this album. And then on the other end, we got Gunna dropping his last album for YSL, The Last Wun. 25 tracks deep, a lot of melodic trap, a lot of luxury talk, a lot of turbo on here. And both of those actually had two completely different listening experiences. And this week, I'm going to tell you how I feel about both albums.
The STEM Society.
Welcome back to the STEM Society. My name is Cole Jackson. This is your weekly album check-in. This is the episode where I do my album reviews. We are live. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you guys had a great week. It's the middle of the week. Let's go into the weekend with some energy. I am tired. Look, I am super excited about how music is going right now. We just got two really great drops. We actually got more than just two great drops on Friday. And I'm excited to see where we're going in music. I've already seen some teasers. Drake is already teasing some of his stuff, so he's getting his rollout ready to go. So it's the second half of 2025 look like we're going to have a great year. I'm ready to hear more music. I'm up to my ears in so much, and it's some stuff I haven't even listened to yet that's just waiting on me. But let's get into the review. JID just dropped his newest album, God Does Like Ugly. 15 tracks, 57 minutes long. You got producers like Jay Versace, Lex Luger, Luke Crowder, Akil Pratt, Boy Wonder. A lot of us wanted to see if JID was going to evolve and actually reach the potential that we all seen in him being on Dreamville for so long. Like, I most definitely was looking forward to a classic album this year. I knew from the Forever Story that he was somebody special and he was going to be doing some special things. And this album is a big standout, and this is one of those things that has so many different elements like layered storytelling, or he has a lot of detailed production crafted specifically for this album to fit his style, and I think it's pretty damn good. From the opening track, You Ugly, he gives us Westside Gunn playing DJ drama with a lot of hype man situations and just going crazy. Shout out to two of the producers on that album are from Birmingham, where I'm from, Akil Pratt and Luke Crowder, which I have interviewed Luke Crowder before, but they were two of the producers on that song. One of my favorite songs on here already. I thought this was a great opening to get us ready and set the table for what this album was going to give us. When I first turned this album on, I felt the first song really made me feel like this album was going to be something different. He goes through three different types of flows on there. The production switches the beat a few different times. So you go from something super heavy and crazy to something with some trumpets and some light sounding heavenly stuff, and then you get right back into the heavy beats. And doing beat switches like that and changing your flow like that just let me know that he was ready to give us something special. The album takes you on a bit of a journey. I feel like I'm learning all of these different sides of JID just through the production choices that he made. Like, you can tell that he wanted to get the church element in there when you hear certain songs like Glory, OF Blue, or K-Word. Like, you have elements of like choirs or tambourines or even the beat switching, like it's going from heaven to hell. Like, that gives it a church meets trap type of feel. Then you got the Atlanta Pride side of things. He came out on skate and said this that Kilo Ali flow. Now, for some of y'all might not know who Kilo Ali is. Me being in the South for so long, I understand that Kilo Ali, I've heard a lot of his music. He was played in the club, early 2000, that's him. Or you can hear him in the skating rinks. You get what I'm saying? And I love the fact that he has Sierra as the feature on that song. But those types of choices that he made, or the Pastor Troy hook that he was using on OF Blue, it was stuff like that you could tell, look, let me infuse some Atlanta in this to let y'all niggas know how we get down. Then you also have a lot of the gritty and dark type beats on there, like heavy cinematic beats like on McAfee. Community is another one of those. Like, you had those types of beats on there. Like, the choices that he made in the production, I thought was so smart. I think it was well thought out. And it's funny because he said he was making this album at the same time he was making the Forever Story.
I want to know the difference between recording the last project and this project.
I made the Forever Story and this at the same time.
Really?
At the same time.
So these songs, every song has been touched and updated, but I was working on them simultaneously.
The West Side Gun one
Pandemic,
sounded recent.
That's the most recent one.
Which starting off your album with My Bitch Ugly is fucking hilarious, by the way.
It was an interesting thing to hear, knowing that these are two completely different albums. Like, they don't feel similar at all. JID made a lot of great decisions on the production side of things. I think this is one of the most well-produced albums he's put out, like out of all of them he's done. And it feels real. It feels a lot like him. A lot of times rappers get into this thing where they feel like they got to follow the wave. Nothing on this album is him following the wave, and that's what I like. The album was paced very well. I think the album probably had me at about the Community. Community was when I knew this album was different. That's when I knew like shit was most definitely on a different level and a different playing field, and I knew JID had finally arrived. He was very versatile on his flows on this album. That was something that I had been wanting him to change up for a very long time. He slowed down his rhyming a lot of times for his delivery on songs like You Ugly and Community, and you can hear the lyrics a lot clearer. Like, typically JID is one of those fast rappers. Like, he's going a million miles a minute, but he did ramp it up on songs like Work and on McAfee. So he gave us a lot of different versatile pockets or a lot of different flows, and I respect him for that, because a lot of artists usually stick in that same lane, or they're scared to slow it down, or they're scared to try something different. This was one of those albums where he wanted to show us every side of him as a rapper. I think we should give him a lot more credit for that, because that nigga showed his ass. My favorite song on this whole album is VCRs. He showed his ass on VCRs. I think that's the best. I'm not gonna say the best lyrically I've heard ever, but it is one of his best songs I've heard. Probably top 5 songs for me. And then Jay Versace, his beat set the stage for my favorite. I tweeted Jay Versace and said, "This is a great beat. This is a great song. VCRs is my favorite song on this album." And everything is perfect. The beat's perfect. The way he goes into the song is perfect. The way JID is flowing on here is perfect. JID got me on the opening verse of this song. When he said, "Look, you want a piece of the American pie, probably humble you. What a nice crib in the hills, real comfortable. You're Juliet, I'll be Romeo Montague. My mama said fooling around with you is irresponsible. You know how power and money do." Vince Staples slides right in and gives us a great verse. His feature verse is one of the best on the album. I listened to this song like 3 or 4 times before I could go through the rest of the album. The features on here make a whole lot of sense. The clips feel good. Another wonderful verse from them. Sierra feels good on the Skate album. That was intentional. Black being on here as well. Still repping Atlanta. Pastor Troy, he had Pastor Troy on here, all people. Who has Pastor Troy? Ain't nobody pulled out Pastor Troy. He pulled out Pastor Troy on this album. He really wanted to make sure he was representing all the different sides of himself and made sure the album sounded very well put together. I think he was very confident in the mix of Southern trap and orchestral textures that he had on here as far as the production is concerned. A lot of different layers of gospel, a lot of beats that came out of left field. With all that being said, the album's not perfect. There are some things that kind of break the momentum of the album. 2 songs in particular that I just did not mess with was Nobu. It just feels like it was a filler. The man and woman back and forth song, it just didn't hit for me. And G's just sounded like it was a leftover song from The Forever Story. It kind of just like breaks the flow of the album, if you ask me. That's just me nitpicking, because sometimes you just gotta find flaws and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Everything is not perfect. So to wrap everything up, this is JID's most versatile project I've heard ever. Like, this is one of the most versatile things that I've heard come from him, when it came to the rapping, when it came to the production. It just overall, and he did it in 15 tracks, which I think is amazing, because a lot of people can't get this kind of detail and this kind of message through their music in 15 tracks. These niggas these days want to give you 20 some odd tracks. But JID wrapped it up in a nice little bow. I think the Southern gospel influence on here was amazing. You can hear it intertwined with a lot of the different music in here. It has a lot of heavy replay value. It's strong thematically. It's cohesive. It flows well. The sequencing is not bad on here either. Like, everything on here, from the features to the production to the sequencing to the cohesion to everything. God Does Like Ugly is a solid listen. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. We're going to look back at this album and say this is when we found out that JID was that dude. A lot of us have known for a very long time, but this is the album where he's arrived. This is where he can hang with the major players. And I love it. I love the fact that I love seeing an artist that I've always believed in reach his potential, like his full potential. He hadn't peaked yet, but he has reached his full potential on here, and there's nothing stopping him from being one of the heavy hitters in the next 5 years. I've heard a lot of people talk about how this is album of the year contender. I have to agree with that, but I can't put it at top 5 right now. It's 5 albums that are better. That's better than this, and y'all know who I'm talking about. I mean, you can look at Freddie Gibbs, you can look at the Clips, you can look at Larry June's albums, you can look at Saba. There's albums that are better than this, and I want to see what we're going to be talking. If we're going to be talking about this album in November, like there's a lot of different things that are going to be coming out here, and I don't want G to be lost in the shuffle, but it is one of the best albums that came out in 2025. It's just when you think about the Clips and when you think about Larry June's album, when you think about Freddie Gibbs' album, when you think about those 3 in particular and putting that up there with them, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can do that at all. But go out and listen to it. It's in your phones right now. JID, God Does Like Ugly. So we finally come to the end of the road with Gunna and YSL, and this is his swan song. Gunna just dropped his newest album, The Last Wun, 25 tracks over an hour long, with features of Offset, Burna Boy, Wizkid, and Asake. For me, this album sounds and feels like a send-off. It feels like this is it, man. We at the end of the road. He decided to give us as much as he possibly can on this one. This is his longest album to date. He hasn't had anything this long. None of his albums. I think the longest album that he had before this one was 20 tracks. So this immediately raised the question to me of, well, can he keep a listener engaged for over an hour without things getting stale? So to start things off, let me go ahead and give Turbo his flowers right now. His fingerprints are all over this album. Turbo killed it. When it comes to the production, it's got a polish. It feels like it's built for Gunna, but that's been the blueprint for the longest time. He's been making Gunna look good for a very long time, and this is no exception. I think he is a fucking superstar on this album. He made this album way better than what it should have been, because Gunna gets into some themes and just kind of gets a little bit stale. I think it's smart that Gunna is leaving YSL because we've already had the back and forth in the tweets and people addressing the snitch situation and the allegations and all this other shit. I'm glad this is his last album, because now I think he doesn't have to be handcuffed to a certain kind of style anymore. Clearly, this album, he is handcuffed to a particular kind of style, and I think it's time for us to try to get Gunna to open up a little bit more outside of the vibe music that he's been doing. Not going to take anything away from him doing what he's been doing for the last 3 albums, because this worked, but you can consistently hear how things are getting a little bit overblown, or he's overdoing a lot of themes, and I really want him to be able to spread his wings a lot more, and I think getting off from under YSL is going to help him with that. That moves me into how I took in the album. The first stretch of the album is smooth, it's laid back, but you get into the same shit that you always get into. Expensive cars, designer clothes, beautiful women. Tracks like Many Nights and Let That Sink In, pure rich rapper mood. It's just, I'm rich and I got all this money and I can buy these women and I can do all this shit. Like, that's the first half. That's the first probably 7 songs of this album. And I get it. He's sticking to his lane very well, but it just got real repetitive and it got real dry. I needed something other than that. But like I said in the beginning, Turbo's production really dominated a lot of this stuff too, because I would have skipped a lot of these songs if I didn't enjoy the production so much. He had warm bass lines, he had clean hi-hats, subtle melodic touches. He had a lot of different things going on. Turbo really, really kept this album going for me, because at one point in time, it just felt like it was the same thing. Rick Owens, Lamborghinis, a bag, I'ma fuck you tonight. Like that was the same energy on every fucking song. My name's Gunna. We going out to Europe. We're going out to these islands. Like he just kept saying the same shit. And I'm like, I get it, bruh. Luxury rap, that is your thing, but you got to expand eventually. I can't say that was all through the album. There was a few points on here where we got some personal moments. Like at my purest, I think he really talked more about personal things. His verse about his grandma, doing it for his grandma, I thought was dope as hell. And then the fuck with your boy, which was very Atlanta and very loyalty based. Like he was talking about how his homeboys fuck with him and how it's only certain people that he really has loyalty to and has loyalty to him. I thought we needed more of those types of songs on there. Like everything cannot be about, you can't have 25 songs about money, cars, and women, bruh. Like Future don't even do shit like that. And even if he does, we still get some R&B side of him too. Like the vibe music is one of those things where it can be hit or miss. And it really depends on the artist. Gunna has made it an art form. He's carved out this niche and he does it very well, but I don't think he thought enough about how the listener would feel listening to the same shit that you're talking about on a regular basis. I just feel like you could have really, really kind of honed in on some other things, especially what you're going through with YSL. Or, I mean, he mentions it, but he doesn't get into it. Like, get into what's going on. We know you and Little Baby not getting along. We know you and Thug are not getting along. Get into that. Talk about it. Give us something, man. One thing that was a breath of fresh air on this album was Burna Boy and Wizkid. I thought those two features stood out very well too. I was looking for more of an Afrobeats type of sound, but yet and still, it was Turbo doing the production. He knew how to fit that production in with those two artists. So I think maybe it just made it just as good. I really was looking for some Afrobeats type stuff on here when I seen Burna Boy and Wizkid though. Like you could have really changed some things up if you would have took that chance and used those two to your advantage instead of doing the same old stuff. You know what I'm saying? The same old melodic trap beats we've been hearing for the last 10 years. I'm gonna be very transparent right now. I got about to song 13 and I started dozing off. I started getting to a point where I was just like, it felt like a chore to get through this album when I got to 13 tracks, because I looked at it and I was just like, how is it that we're at song 13 and it feels like I'm at song 24? It really, as much as Turbo did a great job on the production, it just really was a chore to get through. It really felt like I thought I had finished the album up and I was just on track 13. So that gives you a little bit of a inside look about how it felt for me to be able to listen to it. I just really felt like I had to like power my way through listening to this album. Also, one of the biggest disappointments on this album too was the Offset feature. I was looking for Offset to give us something like really, really good because he's been on his run. His album was about to drop this year as well. At My Purest is a song where Offset is on, and he don't even elevate the song at all. The song is like a minute and I think 40 some odd seconds. It's not even 2 minutes long. But I would think that a collaboration between Offset and Gunna would be something that's going to take us over the moon, and it didn't. It really felt like this nigga was like, all right, let me give you this quick little verse. Let's just say we was on a song together and I can move on with my album. Nothing felt authentic about it. It just felt like a collaboration to do it just to say I got this feature on my album. So that was another thing that disappointed me about this. It was really... It was disappointing to see Offset give that kind of performance on here, especially after the 2 singles he's dropped so far. He's really been rapping out here. So it just think maybe the verse was recorded a long time ago. Who knows? But I just feel like Offset could have gave us a better performance than what he did. Outside of that, the features were just okay. It wasn't nothing spectacular about them. Gunna didn't take a lot of chances on here. For me, he stayed in his comfort zone, and I don't know if that was because this is his last YSL album or if he just doesn't have enough experiences to talk about to make a 25-song album work. It really felt like he just gave what he could, and I'm not saying that the album was bad. I just know it feels it's like everything that Gunna was talking about just felt like it was exhausted, and it just felt like he didn't want to give his all or talk about anything outside of the normal money, cars, and women tropes that we hear on a lot of these type vibe albums. I think the real star, the real MVP of this album is Turbo. I think his production kept the album very listenable. It kept it very replayable because that nigga. Turbo got some beats on here, bruh. Turbo did some fire ass beats on here that I would love to have. If I could rap, I would use them on my own. So I'm gonna give this a cool listen. It is worth a stream, especially for the production part of things. And there's a few standout tracks on here, especially with Burna Boy and Wizkid. But outside of that, man, I mean, the replayability is there just a tad. I just don't think I can give this another 25 song. I don't think I can give these 25 songs that kind of attention anymore. I'll pick and choose some stuff out of this album and put it on a playlist, but at the end of the day, going through this once is enough for me. That's all I got this week, guys. Thank you for joining me for another episode. Please make sure you guys are subscribing to the channel. Make sure you guys are commenting below and let me know how you feel about those two albums. And if it's any albums that you want me to review, make sure you hit me up in the comments, or you can always send an email. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll catch you next time. Peace out.
Thank you for joining the STEM Society.